A stunning, high-stakes money fact about Rihanna's $1.4 fortune potentially being exposed. Promise to unpack why Rihanna reportedly refuses a post-nup, what that means legally and financially, how celebrity wealth protection really works, and the surprising twist almost no one is talking about. Why would one of the world's most successful entertainers hesitate to sign a document designed to safeguard a billion-dollar empire? That single question opens a window into the collision of love, trust, ambition, and the pressure of public scrutiny. Rihanna's fortune isn't just a number on paper, it's a blend of her music catalog, her Fenty empire, and years of relentless reinvention. When a post-nup enters the conversation, the issue isn't only legal, it's deeply emotional. In ultra-high net worth relationships, even paperwork becomes a symbol of power, vulnerability, and long-term intention. Rihanna's financial reality is unlike almost any other celebrity's. The majority of her wealth flows from intellectual property, brand licensing, and ownership stakes, not simple cash reserves. That means decisions about protection become exponentially more complicated than dividing a bank account. Every clause in a post-nup can influence not only her present net worth, but her brand's future valuation. Yet, emotional attachment can override even the sharpest financial reasoning. When someone builds an empire from the ground up, legal boundaries can feel strangely personal. Money becomes more than resource, it becomes legacy. Picture balancing a billion-dollar business while attempting to preserve the privacy of a relationship watched by millions. Every conversation carries the weight of headlines waiting to erupt. For Rihanna, navigating the worlds of fashion, beauty, and entertainment already demands relentless focus. Adding a post-nuptial negotiation introduces new tension. Legal teams, valuations, asset maps, and the future of two children intertwined in the process. It's a high-wire act where personal and professional stakes merge, and every decision can ripple across global markets. Even small choices might alter brand perception. Think of the times couples sidestep uncomfortable conversations, money, expectations, long-term security, simply because the timing feels off or the emotions feel too heavy. Magnify that feeling to the scale of a global superstar. Rihanna's reluctance mirrors a familiar human impulse, the desire to protect emotional harmony. Even with unimaginable wealth, the same tension applies. When two people share a life and children, a contract can feel like a spotlight on potential fracture. The dynamic becomes even more complicated when fame amplifies every whisper into a rumor. Most people assume wealth planning is purely transactional, but it's often an exploration of identity and priorities. For someone like Rihanna, the complexity multiplies because the boundaries between personal artistry and corporate strategy blur. Signing a post-nup isn't just about protecting money, it's about defining how her creations, her influence, and her future earnings should be treated within a relationship. The decision reflects not only legal foresight but emotional clarity. When your brand is inseparable from who you are, any document touching it becomes a statement of self. Celebrity couples often build financial structures that look nothing like the systems used by everyday families, and post-nups serve functions far beyond preparing for a split. For someone with Rihanna's profile, such agreements can determine control of trademarks, business continuity, and even the use of shared properties across multiple countries. In some cases, the document protects the partner with less wealth as much as the one with more. Post-nups act as stabilizers in a world where careers evolve quickly and public narratives shift even faster. Dynamics change. There's a story Hollywood insiders still whisper about. A high-profile actress who delayed financial planning until long after marriage, only to face a sudden divorce that fractured her production company's ownership. The fallout dragged through courts, drained creative energy, and reshaped her entire public image. The lesson from that tale echoes around celebrity circles: waiting too long can turn private choices into public disasters. For Rihanna, whose businesses rely on agility and brand integrity, Any legal limbo could be even more disruptive. Timing matters. A well-known family law attorney once remarked, "In wealthy partnerships, the hardest negotiations aren't about assets, they're about feelings disguised as financial decisions." That perspective fits Rihanna's situation perfectly. When careers, reputations, and creative identities are intertwined, the emotional cost of a contract can outweigh the financial implications. Lawyers might discuss valuation models or intellectual property rights, but the couple has to confront trust, balance, and the future they envision. In the ultra-wealth world, even routine clauses can trigger deep reflection. A growing trend in celebrity wealth management shows how relationship contracts are evolving alongside personal brands. These agreements now include clauses about social media conduct, business involvement limits, and even revenue participation in future creative ventures. For someone like Rihanna, whose influence spans multiple industries, the future of wealth protection looks more like a hybrid of legal foresight and brand strategy. As celebrity empires continue to merge with lifestyle identities, relationship contracts are shifting from simple protections to frameworks that preserve a public narrative. The industry is adapting at remarkable speed. Many people assume post-nuptial agreements signal distrust or foreshadow separation, but that understanding is far too simplified. In high-profile partnerships, these documents often function more like business continuity plans. They set expectations around assets that are already deeply intertwined with global markets and public perception. Rihanna's situation illustrates how post-nups can be less about guarding against heartbreak and more about ensuring stability across massive ventures. Without clear legal outlines, even minor disputes can escalate into multi-million-dollar complications. Reality is more layered than the common narrative suggests. What Rihanna truly risks isn't just the headline number attached to her net worth, it's the intricate architecture behind it. Her empire includes equity stakes, global licensing deals, international subsidiaries, and brand IP valued in ways few celebrities ever achieve. Losing even partial control of that structure could alter the direction of her companies. When wealth is tied to creative identity, any division becomes more complex than splitting assets. Each component has long-term implications for valuation, leadership, and future innovation. The magnitude of that interconnected system is staggering. One commonly overlooked issue in high-net-worth relationships is failing to update legal and financial frameworks after the birth of children. Parenting changes responsibility, custody expectations, and long-term asset planning. For Rihanna, whose family spans fame, business influence, and public interest, the stakes rise even higher. Without updated agreements, decisions about guardianship, education funds, and inheritance structures can become tangled in uncertainty. Celebrity parents often underestimate how interconnected their personal and professional worlds become after children arrive. The legal landscape shifts dramatically, yet many couples don't address it. A detail often missed in surface-level discussions is how A$AP Rocky's own legal complications could affect the broader picture. Pending cases, public controversies, or unresolved legal battles can create ripple effects that impact shared financial planning. For a partner with massive brand exposure like Rihanna, these external pressures add layers of complexity to decisions that might otherwise be straightforward. Public perception, potential liabilities, and long-term reputational risk factor heavily into how assets are structured. Even one unresolved issue can influence strategic choices behind the scenes. The interplay is delicate. A little-known complexity in Rihanna's situation lies in the international footprint of her businesses. Fenty operates across jurisdictions with different marriage and property laws, making any contract more than a domestic matter. Intellectual property protections vary by region, and so do rules about income generated from foreign subsidiaries. Crafting a single document that encompasses all of this requires meticulous cross-border coordination. The wrong clause in one jurisdiction could create loopholes in another. When a global brand meets personal life decisions, even lawyers call it one of the toughest challenges. A widespread misconception is that default marital laws work the same way for every couple, regardless of where they live or what assets they hold. In reality, the legal outcomes differ drastically depending on jurisdiction, asset type, and whether partners are married, cohabiting, or sharing children. Rihanna's scenario brings this into sharp focus. Wealth made primarily through intellectual property behaves differently in legal frameworks than traditional assets do. Many people mistakenly assume everything is split evenly, but that's rarely the case. The rules are far more nuanced than headlines imply. One fascinating aspect of celebrity finance is how billionaire women often navigate asset protection differently than billionaire men. Studies show that women with substantial wealth frequently balance a stronger emphasis on relational harmony, with a keen awareness of long-term security. Rihanna's hesitation fits into a larger pattern where emotional calculus plays as significant a role as financial logic. That dynamic becomes even more pronounced when the public is watching closely. In industries shaped by image, reputation, and creative voice, emotional equilibrium often carries strategic weight. These decisions echo widely. A rising trend in the world of celebrity finance involves relationship contracts built specifically around personal brands and intellectual property-driven wealth. Traditional prenups and postnups were never designed for empires fueled by licensing, digital influence, and global product ecosystems. Newer agreements include clauses about AI likeness rights, metaverse asset control, long-term royalty structures, and even limits on how partners can collaborate creatively. Rihanna sits at the intersection of all these evolving realities. As public figures increasingly monetize every dimension of their identity, the legal system is forced to catch up. The shift is accelerating. Rihanna's situation illuminates a broader truth about modern wealth. Even for everyday individuals, assets come in more forms than people realize. Digital businesses, online content, side hustles, intellectual property, and shared investments all blur the lines of ownership. When lives intertwine emotionally, financially, and creatively, the distinctions become even harder to navigate. Many couples only consider money in its simplest form, unaware that personal brands, future earnings, or even shared digital accounts can complicate things quickly. The Rihanna AP Rocky spotlight simply magnifies how intricate these intersections have become across society. Rihanna's reported refusal to sign a postnup isn't just a celebrity headline, it's a window into the emotional, financial, and strategic pressures that shape modern relationships at every level of wealth. Her empire spans music, beauty, fashion, and intellectual property, yet the heart of the issue mirrors something deeply human. Balancing love with self-protection, privacy with responsibility, and partnership with independence. Her choice highlights how today's wealth isn't simply counted in dollars, but in decisions that shape identity and legacy. If you want to go deeper into another unexpected celebrity financial blind spot, the next story will surprise you even more.